gonna drop it, like to attach it to something, so I can speak into the flower.
Test.
Or into the something
James.
larger.
The talkie-walkie.
No, that's
Talkie-walkie. That's a different game.
That's the most exciting thing about the next.
Candle, perfect. My Mac got a candle. Candle, thanks.
Oh, wow. It's a bit dynamite stick.
Martini is really good.
You're quick. You're quick too.
Huh?
You're quick.
Sometimes.
That's why I like it. Yeah.
It's like
I
fair,
think
it's
people
fair
are
game.
quick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
okay,
why I
so
like
we're
it.
fair,
Yeah,
right?
it's fair.
Never mind. Okay. I'm gonna try to hold it. Just hold it.
Cool. Here we all are.
We made it.
Some delay. Whatever.
Sojourn in the house. The real people behind the collective.
Oh,
Hey.
thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks
Okay.
for having us.
Yeah.
It's really appreciated. Yeah, looking forward to today's panel and the time after.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Okay. I guess tell us about Sojourn DNA. I feel like it'd be cool to know what prompted the collective, and I guess what was the problem you were responding to?
Well, if I wanted to start about 4 years ago, I don't think there was a certain problem at that point. We just wanted to gather friends and play the music that we love and that we thought was interesting at the time. Obviously, we were part of multiple collectives and we were out to multiple events. And we thought it would be nice to start something that kind of, after the night, you're not just going away after the night. Maybe create something that stays with you after the night, some sort of fulfillment that in particular, I didn't feel after multiple nights out. And I kind of felt that there was some kind of community part of it that was missing sometimes. So building it with friends, it felt like, okay, we're working towards something, almost like talking about it every day. And, it just was beyond the party itself. And yeah, the things kept growing, the vision kept getting clearer as we got better at organization and at booking artists from all over the world, and people from like-minded people started joining the mission and the collective, and it made it. I think I would say it made the goal broader, and it felt more inclusive rather than just coming together to party, and yeah, things kept growing from there to the point that we have a very loyal community behind us today that we're really proud of, and people that support us everywhere we go, because the way probably the way we run our events is that we don't have a home base. So basically we go from one space to the other, and this is the part of the fun of Sojourn, is that you never know when is the next event going to be. It's your backyard, maybe it's a different city. It's cultural center, it's a museum, it's an art gallery, and things kept getting more interesting, the ideas flourishing, of course, learning from each other, and that's how Sojourn, the definition of Sojourn or the collective kept coming together to become what it is today as an established party and the forefront of the underground house and techno in Boston. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's perfect.
I guess what makes it different from traditional nightlife? I feel like sometimes people ask, how's it different than going to a nightclub?
Yeah. I think what's nice is that, especially in Boston, the difference between a night out and a nightclub and coming to Sojourn is super clear. I think when you're going to a nightclub, you are completely a customer. I think at every single point, there's a point of sale. Someone's trying to make money from you, or there's certain divisions that are put up that are just artificial, whether that be like tables, expensive bottle service, etc. None of that, and it never will be at the center of Sojourn. I think for us, the focus is music and community. I think one of the nice things about our events is that people come to dance, people come to listen, people come to make friends. And it's a lot different going to like a massive venue where you're just a customer and trying to make a friend there versus coming to a smaller intentional space where you know that people share certain values when you step into a Sojourn party, where they care about sound quality, they care about hearing music they haven't heard before that's still going to impact them, and they care about being around people that won't make them feel unsafe. And I think that priority on quality of the sound, quality of the music that's being played, and the quality of the community that's around you, I think that really is what separates Sojourn from just going to, I'm not going to say any names, but going to like any sort of like big corporate nightlife event. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also feel like most of the nightlife is designed to keep you onto that peak, I would say. The moment you step into a club, you're just trying to how would I would say it, just stay on this mindset of like pushing the limits and partying and drinking and this, and kind of it dilutes the human aspect of what going out and meeting people, like-minded people. Whereas you come to Sojourn and it's like people would be hanging out. We tend to design it in a way that it makes sense between a dance floor and a chill area where people can actually, when they're in the dance floor, they're fully locked in and they're enjoying the music. And when they need some time off to go out and step out for a little bit and have that deeper kind of bonding and create deeper connection with like-minded people, kind of help make the night unfolds into a way that's much more organic, I would say. Yeah.
I feel like every time I go to your parties, there's this like, why I like your parties so much. It feels there's no hard door, like a Berheim, but you walk in and it feels like the crowd is culturally aligned somehow, and it feels like everybody knows the rules that are not really spoken about. And I guess like, how do you guys curate it? What kind of behavior doesn't really survive at Sojourn? Yeah.
Yeah, I could start with that, and Joe, you can speak on that as well if you'd like to. Yeah, I think first of all, it's probably the most important part about running any sort of party is like the community that you cultivate. If you have a community that's known for people just feel like they can act any way, in any manner, be disrespectful, put people in unsafe situations, particularly people from minority backgrounds, whether that just be racially or gender-wise, I think having that sort of reputation just creates a very, very toxic and harmful environment. And it also strays away from what the roots of dance music are supposed to be about, where you're trying to create a liberatory space for people from said communities to enjoy themselves. I think as far as curating our community, I think it's because we've been pretty intentional about our growth. I think that it's very easy to just spam ads everywhere and just try and get as many people in the door as possible. And of course, with the financial pressures of running a collective like ours, there's always that on the mind. We're thinking about trying to make sure that we can make this sustainable for ourselves, but we've never sacrificed our values in our community for the sake of profit. So it means just like being very, very mindful of like who we're trying to include. It means speaking and connecting with our community members about when they feel unsafe and making sure that the few that can ever be identified that are causing problems are never welcome through our door again. And I know you said specifically like what type of behavior is not permissible at our parties. I think any sort of discriminatory behavior is just not welcome, like whatsoever. I think that does a good job of covering it across the board. But of course, the behavior we encourage is people to be open-minded, people to be friendly, and of course to just be there for the right reasons, which is the music.
Yeah, and I'd also like to add something too. I mean, I joined Sojourn not so long ago. Honestly, I started to become friends with Shauki a couple years ago, and then slowly started to go to Sojourn events, and it was actually like a change. Going to other places and going to Sojourn, like I would feel the vibe was completely different. I felt very kind of free when I'm in Sojourn in a way that's like, no one's looking at you in a weird way. Everyone's respectful. Everyone's friendly. And that was beautiful. So I was just going to Sojourn to enjoy the music, and that was kind of the main difference. And then slowly I started to see, okay, like that should really be the norm of nightlife. It should be the norm in a way that you're going to a place and you're like actually going to see friends and enjoy and not really worry about any other external factors.
Yeah, imagine being a woman and all of that. It takes like, I mean, I guess like a woman or any kind of minority, it's, yeah, being alone at like doing nightlife can be scary. I'm sure a lot of people can attest to that.
Yeah.
You kind of get preyed on, or, you know, it is, yeah, a hookup culture a lot in the nightlife. And I felt like with the Sojourn events, I could come alone. It could be entirely alone for 6 hours, and it would be so safe, which is what I truly cherish about those nights.
I think that's like one of like the highest, I mean, compliments we can hear about our parties. I think, you know, I think back to our anniversary event. There was this guy, I think his name was Tim. I just introduced myself to him. He came by himself at the start. No one's there. He's like one of the first people in. And he's coming just completely by himself, being able to feel free to dance, feel free to meet new people all night long without having any friends coming with him. That's like the type of person that I think we all have in mind when we're throwing our parties. Like, if you are coming by yourself, what is your experience going to like? Are you going to be feeling safe? Are you going to be worried about being preyed on? Are you going to be worried about being judged for actually enjoying the music? Are you going to feel like you can't approach people? Or there's nowhere for you if you're just feeling kind of nervous just to kind of pull back? I think that person kind of unconsciously is at the focus of what we're trying to do when we're curating spaces. So hearing something like that from you, that's really nice to hear. Yeah.
It was one of the last Carriage events. I think it was a comedy show beforehand, and one of the comedians stayed around, and they were from New York. They've never been to an underground party, and I was outside just catching a break, and he comes out and he's like, "Could I ask you a question? What is going on inside? Why is everybody facing the DJ, and why is everybody just kind of like zombie-like bopping around?" And I was like, "Oh,
People are in trance.
I don't know how to answer that." He's like, "So what are people like? Nobody's looking at each other." I'm like, "Yeah, that's the point." You're focusing on the music. That's the whole idea of it, which I think is pretty wonderful.
Yeah, it's nice to hear other people's perspective that not familiar with the way we party and the way we enjoy music. Yeah, it's always fun to hear their perspective. But the moment they step in and they kind of like have that moment of freedom and no one is bothering them while they're trying to understand what the DJ is doing, because for a lot of people's first time when they come into the event and they see one guy behind the booth, no flashy lights around him whatsoever, just fully focused in his craft and flipping their records and doing all these things, and they're like, what's going on? Okay. And you see people getting closer and closer and getting more interested in what's going on, and then by the end of the night I feel like they understand the whole purpose about designing the space and creating Sojourn in that way. And the moment they go to the patio, they see everyone is chatting, everyone is talking, and everyone is making friends and networking. So
Yeah.
it's always nice to see these new faces. Yeah. If it feels even better when you see them coming back the next time with their friends or family members, which for us is the biggest compliment. You have some professors from MIT that really been huge help in guiding us through, either by giving us advices on how to get the best equipment just for sound, and to have the best sound experiences. And they will come with their wives and kids, and that's really beautiful to see. Yeah. Like that's for me, that's a level of trust that you don't normally get like other places.
It's not happening at some clubs in Boston.
Okay, child care included next for Sojourn.
Well, when I say their kids, okay, they're maybe, they're 21 plus. They're of age. Sorry, Well, English is my third language, so I'm trying my best.
Actually, this is a good one. Like, where are you guys from? Because it is a big cultural mix over here.
That's true. That's very true. So I'm from Morocco. I'm from Marrakesh. I came to Boston 10 years ago. Yeah. In December 25th, I'll be officially a Bostonian. 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, so I moved to Boston 2 years ago. I grew up between New Jersey and Nigeria. This is where my parents are from. And yeah, I went to school right outside of Philly. And I was speaking earlier about how my mom played a pretty big role in my life in dance music. So my cultural background as a Nigerian, we love to dance. My mom was always playing dance music. So I always try to weave that in when someone asks me where I'm from. Both where I'm from literally, but musically is definitely reflected by my background. So yeah.
Yeah. And I was born and raised in Beirut, Lebanon. Came here for studies, and yeah, I've been here for almost 9 years now.
Yeah, a lot of almost a decade for a lot of us.
Yeah,
I've been here for a decade as well.
I know.
I guess going off of that, I guess what a lot of people don't realize is that Sojourn is not your full time. You all have
Yeah.
full-time jobs, and
wish.
I guess like if
That
you
would
were
be the dream.
if you were to talk about the behind the scenes, how much work goes into this? And do you ever question like, why did I choose this life? What am I doing?
Yeah.
That's a very good question.
You can
yeah.
speak to that because
It's-
you've seen behind the curtain most recently. So.
Yeah, I mean, behind the curtain is completely different than when you come into the party. Just so we say that to start. We put a lot of work into trying to curate an environment that is great to see and also good acoustically for the speakers. So yeah, we put a lot of time into when we first go on a new place. We go there the first time. We look around. We take videos. We talk between the team for like a couple weeks on what we'd like to include in the space, and then before the party we go there a couple days before. We have now a great team. Actually, we're like 6 people. Yeah, we have a big team, and yeah, we make it work. We make it work. That's the beauty of it, having a team with you. Definitely, I feel pushes everyone to really try to make the best space possible.
Yeah. I think that aspect of Sojourn I think is always like the most shocking for people to hear because they don't realize how much of it is DIY. Like it's really like we're having calls until who knows when, and like meetings to try and discuss like what's the best acoustic panel for this room, or like can we source this speaker, or like okay, how can we make sure the right person's at the door, so like the first person you talk to when you come in makes you feel at ease. How do you think about acoustic isolation, this venue, safety, if there's any sort of event, how can people get out, bathroom, like it's a lot. But at the same time, I know you kind of brought up like we have day jobs, this is not our full-time job. One of the reasons I like this is because it's a type of work that gives me a satisfaction that I necessarily don't find in my daytime job. So there's a lot of effort and hours that are put in behind the scenes that people don't see, but at the same time, that satisfaction of seeing people enter a space that they didn't think would be possible in Boston, that makes it all worth it. Yeah.
Personally, I feel like the best part of putting together a show or night will be the behind the scenes, the work that we do behind the scenes. At least for us, that's the most fun. Because we're not stressed yet. So we're going out scouting for spaces, talking to landlords, checking out neighborhoods for, we want to be as much noise compliant, is that the right way to say it? As possible, just so we don't have any issues with our neighbors. So that's part of our scouting, and finding the right space, finding the right sound engineers for the space, finding the right gear for it, the right DJ for it, and the right artist for that month specifically, because we feel like the way we curate the music, there's so many variables. We just kind of follow some patterns, like the community psychology, how's everyone feeling, what's happening around the world. So all these things kind of go into how we define what goes into that night. And then, as you guys all know here, the spaces are not meant to host what we do. So we have to go above and beyond to make it feel accommodative. So then you move to the step where the decoration. Obviously, this is not our full-time job, and the finances are limited most of the time. And we're aiming for the moon, but the reality is different. So we have to work out with our budget and like involve. And the good part also is that we involve at the end of the day, like at the end of the event, you see that you involved in this event just to put it together around like 30 artists, which is huge. And like these artists before, they didn't have those kind of opportunities to just be creative. And when you start listening to all our friends and all these artists and the ideas that they contributed towards the event, like you see the potential that everyone has. And this is one thing I'm seeing that is slowly changing in this city, is that people are getting confident, especially artists are getting more confident, and they're like, okay, people are doing it, then we can do it also. Like we always keep saying how things are not happening in this city, how it's hard to find things to do, but yeah, these kind of events also show that coming together and collaborating together kind of makes a difference. And yeah, I'm really excited about the future. I know it's been 4 years. This past year has been
What's in the future?
what's in the future.
We don't like to give too advanced notice, but I think what you will see is some of the same, but just in new places, new venues, new setups for our spaces themselves, whether that means changing things around, bringing in new visual decorations, making sure that we keep our sound curation fresh. Of course, we have our style, we have our taste amongst us, but we're always looking for DJs that you might not know of that we think are some of the best in the world, and making sure we're presenting new people. But as far as what's next, it's more of what we've been doing, but just continuing to push what's possible in this city. It's always like a hard question to answer because sometimes we won't know what's possible ourselves until a couple weeks beforehand. And then we're like, oh, wait, this is something that can really happen, that we could do something really special. And that's honestly one of the things that keeps it super exciting. We're constantly digging for places, digging for new ideas to like bring to our events, digging for new music. There's just a constant evolution on our work that will bring new things to the future. So more of the same, but always trying to find ways to make marginal improvements, taking feedback from our community.
Hell yeah. I have one more that I just thought of. To preface, we love Boston, the best city in the world.
For sure.
But but we have Meg here who works for Boston, well, for Somerville, but you know, there's things that keep it interesting, especially doing work that you do. What keeps you on your toes, and what makes you be very creative when hosting events like this?
Yeah, so I think what makes us creative is something that Shalky mentioned earlier, is that the spaces that we use, if you step into our events, are not designed for nights out. And that means having to work carefully to make sure that we are as respectful of our neighbors as possible, but we're also making sure that we're providing spaces that are comfortable for the experience that we're trying to provide our guests. So that's one of the number one things. I think just trying to find the right spaces for what we do. It's one of the biggest challenges. And often, I know we're Sojourn in Boston and we're having this talk in Somerville. Like these restrictions, these blockades lead us to go to other places. And I think that's something that we want to do, is make sure that we can provide love to all over the greater Boston area, not just having to go to the same cities or same neighborhoods, so we can get feel a little bit more comfortable with putting on the events. But yeah, I would say venues would be the number ones, like top of mind. That's the thing that keeps you on the toe, making sure that, you know, we're using spaces that are not specifically designed for what we do, but making sure we can still provide a safe experience and be as compliant as possible.
Totally.
Yeah.
And just have the city on our side. When I say the city, obviously Boston, Cambridge, Somerville, for them to actually be more involved in what's going on in the underground and independent artists, because I feel like a lot of what's going on has to do with them not knowing the need or where to help. And the moment that change, I feel like it will make everyone's life easier, and will give that platform for all the artists to flourish. Because one thing that we noticed here is that we have a lot of talent, right? But most of this talent, people here have their careers. Of course, they're passionate about the music. They're really serious about it, or any kind of art. And they're having pretty good life here professionally. They're good. But they need to flourish. That side of them is that what's inspired them to keep going, is that artistic side. And if you don't nurture it, then that person will look for another place to go where they can thrive. And yeah, the moment I feel like the city start realizing these kind of things, I feel like they will definitely be on our side and at least help finding these spaces, or just have more spaces to kind of host these kind of events. And yeah, that's, I feel like that's the small limitation. I feel like it has to do also with how smaller the cities are and how the residential areas kind of conflict with businesses. um so yeah, this is kind of our main, yeah,
Challenge.
main challenge.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Matt.
I had a question. What's
Mhm.
the craziest venue you've ever played in?
Do you want a mic? No,
On the book, of the book. No, I'm
Will
just
you
kidding.
repeat
Repeat
my
the
question
question.
into the mic? You know what?
I'm sorry.
Will
Repeat
you
the
repeat
question.
my question into the mic just to make sure they can hear it?
Sure.
Okay.
So I asked you what your craziest venue was you've ever played, like the wildest space.
What's the wildest space we've ever played at?
Wow.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think like this. I'm like running back through this year. There's been some interesting spots.
We've definitely been through some interesting spots. So I would say like the Secret Garden, the tea house, the base tea house. What
Somerville,
else?
the warehouse.
Somerville,
House.
the art gallery, warehouse, storage, yeah. Move-in company, you name it. Old theater, yeah, it's pretty much all over the place. But I wouldn't say the wildest, because it might seem crazy the way it's named, or what the business is meant for, or what the space is meant for. But the moment it's like just you switch things around slightly, it just completely turned
Yeah.
to, wow, this is an actual venue right now. Yeah,
That's so cool.
yeah.
That's what keeps it fun. I think it's like each time, even when we're revisiting the space, like we're it's a part of what makes it so hard, but it's a part of what makes it so fun is that we get to build a venue
Mm.
each time.
Each time,
We
pretty
get
much.
to build
Yes.
a club each time and see it come to life, see it be filled with life, and then break it down.
Yeah,
And as much as it's like it's difficult, it's probably one of the most exciting parts about it.
it's really exciting. Yeah, it's
Especially when things
difficult.
come together.
Yeah. But I would say the Secret Garden was the one that we poured the most love into, from what it used to be to what it became. It was basically this, what you would call it was a
It was like the back lot of a building. So
backlot, yeah.
Yeah.
And they had these, what did you call the disposable thing in there?
Like the
and
big
it was,
dumpsters, yeah,
yeah,
the big
dumpsters, and
dumpsters.
it was such a messy space, to be honest. But the moment we
It's
stepped in
disgusting.
there, it was disgusting. Okay, let's be clear, guys. Well, the end is really nice, so we can go through that part. And we stepped in. It was kind of surrounded by trees, and that's why we call it the Secret Garden. And it was a 2-floor building under a billboard. And the moment we stepped there, I'm like, I kind of feel something good can boil in this location. Obviously, you need some love, but the end product will be really nice. So we talked to the owners. They were super excited to hear us. And this is a cool thing that we start noticing. Like, people, they're willing to listen and help and discover new ideas. And Shanazi, the guy, just gave us the time and the freedom to just get creative with the space. He's like, guys, whatever you want, I'll help you make it happen. And we went about redesigning the whole space, painting, installing some turf,
Power
deep
washing,
cleaning,
yeah.
power washing, hanging tarps,
Lights.
yeah, lights, bringing really good
Where
sound
was
system.
this? Like what?
It was during the summer.
Where was it though? Like what?
It was in,
McDonald's IHOP.
Oh,
near
okay.
that area.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got hacked.
Somewhere near there.
Somewhere.
On the highway.
Somewhere
on the
near
highway.
there.
It was under the billboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You drive past it, you'll be able to know.
You'll know.
That billboard was really funny. It looked like Madonna and Child on the other.
Oh no.
When they did like the fundraiser on it, yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of a space that turned into something, like when you trace the history of how it started and what it became, seeing the end result was really heartwarming. It was really inspiring. Even the freedom that it gave people to be outdoor and you feel like you're in a little jungle, the nicest people around you. And even as a DJ, because that was very memorable to to us because we both played that gig, and it was one of my favorite times behind the booth because I just never seen people being that free. The way they were dancing was completely different from what we see all the time. It's like everyone just have their own space and feeling. It was just a liberating feeling.
It was outdoors.
Yeah, it was outdoors. Yeah, really nice breeze and yeah.
It
Maybe
was
you could tell us how you felt there because
it
you
was a
were
magical night.
up front. Yeah.
I was a photographer for that night, and yeah, it's hard to relay the feeling that that night was just special. It felt like you know everybody, and I didn't know anybody. I knew obviously Chalkid, Rasak, Joe, but really everybody else was a stranger. But it felt like family, and I have no idea what created that feeling. But that's something that makes you hold on to it and want to nurture that and foster that for events coming on, because that felt different. That felt like what Boston needs. And like all these people from really cool backgrounds came together, and there was laughter, there was dancing, there was chatting. And there was multiple levels, and people could look at the stars and lay on the roof, be under the billboard and dance in the bottom. And also amazing artists that you brought from France and England, also art curators, vinyl curators, right?
Yeah, they're one of the best record stores in Europe.
Yeah.
They have a shop in Switzerland, right?
Yes,
In Lyon,
first in
in-
Switzerland.
yeah.
Now I moved to
Lyon, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this amazing couple that just that night was a unicorn night. And I feel like
Yeah, part of you mentioned the couple, and I forgot this really essential part of talking about the artists that we normally book, and those artists are people. Of course, we talk to their agents and we establish that connection, but also the relationship that we have with the artists that come visit to Boston. Most of them are the first time, so from all over the world, it's their first time coming to Boston, not knowing what to expect, and we host them in our homes, so they will spend a week or a few days with us. And it's beautiful it's part of behind what happens behind the scenes, but it's also one of the most enjoyable thing to do is like it basically becomes a cultural exchange. You're representing your city, they also come with responsibility to represent their city, their sound, because something that's happening now in Boston too, which is, I would even call it a cultural renaissance, for at least for the music scene that we have. There is some sort of sound that we're building for the city, and not only us. I'm saying like other collectives are doing same, if not more, efforts to build this scene, and that's a really enjoyable part of what we do is to basically get to spend some time with these talented artists and get to really know them. So it's not that transactional kind of relationship that you would have that you think, for example, a club has with a touring artist, where they would come, they get paid, and they leave. No, they come, they spend time with us, they see how we live, how they meet our friends, we show them around, we take them for tours, and really beautiful memories before even the party. Some of them even end up helping us setting up the event, which is unheard of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Matt, Meg, you guys have questions? Anybody from the crowd has questions?
Need to answer questions.
I asked my biggest question.
I feel like you don't get to talk to people behind these collectives a lot, and often people don't even know who's behind what is happening here. And I think it's really cool to get a chance to talk to you guys and hear what actually is happening, because I think it's fascinating. And I think it's also what makes Boston truly special. That I think I've heard it a lot from people who work in collectives, and it's like, would you go to New York? Would you go to Miami? It's much easier there to do this type of stuff. But people stay there here. What makes you stay? Why is the city is magnetic? Why do you guys love it so much?
Start. I mean, my work is here. My full-time job is here, and I have family here too. And I learned to make Boston a home for me. I don't really need to go anywhere else. I felt that was one of the cool things about Sojourn, is like that's an opportunity for me to have a home in Boston and curate my art. To answer your question, that's the cool thing about wanting to be an artist is Sojourn is bringing this opportunity to people and in the city to make you want to stay in the city, and yeah, I mean, live your life. I'm happy in Boston. Yeah, so I don't know.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's real.
I love it.
I think I think I moved here the most recent out of all of us. Like I moved here like 2 years ago. And when I was moving here, everyone was like, yeah, Boston sucks. Like, Boston's super dry. There's, like, nothing going on, which is, I think, is a mischaracterization. I think when Joki said it was, like, it's not just us doing things. There's other collectives who are doing amazing work up here. But it's not, like, really fully appreciated by the city government itself, and also by some residents. But one of the things that keeps me up here is just getting to be a part of that change in perception, where people can look at our city's art scene, our music scene, our nightlife just differently just by coming to one of our events and be like, wait, like this is actually possible here. Like this, we can actually change things. We can do nightlife a different way. Like it's much easier, like to go to like a bigger city, like in New York and Miami where there's like established institutions, but you don't get to really be a part of like a bigger change. You don't get to be a part of like a bigger movement. And you will see that here more than a lot of places across the country, the passion in the underground here is very real. It's very palpable. It's super inspiring, and it's one of the only reasons I can live here. You know, being around people who really care about making nightlife something special. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I could add one more thing about you said about why the city is magnetic. I would say, from my perspective, I feel like every city kind of has a culture, and it does attract a certain type of people. Like if you go to New York, you'll feel these are people from New York. You know, it attracts people that kind of have the same values or the same mentality, the same way of life. They enjoy being on the go all the time and all these things. Just to give an example, like Miami has its own culture also. I feel like Boston attracts a certain kind of people that I feel like I relate to, and I really enjoy the people that I meet here. It's some of the most interesting people I met in the world. I feel like we live in the hub of the world for real. A lot of things happen from here in any field. It's insane when you think about it and what comes out of this city. So being part of the fabric of this city and building something that will help future generations and will inspire people to stay here, not just to think about their life here professionally, but also satisfy their emotional and like sense of belonging and being part of something bigger than just themselves. I feel like that's pretty attractive to me, and I feel like it's attractive to a lot of people. If it's not for music for them, it's maybe a startup or whatever they're doing, but it's still that's why I feel like it's magnetic for some people.
Yeah, you guys are shifting the culture, which it's much, it's unique, it's cool. New York maybe doesn't necessarily need this, but Boston does, and you're setting up for a change, and it's magic. So.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Got anything?
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
Sure.
The first one is, like, you talked about how you don't want to be, like, blasting ads everywhere. Like, how do you balance, like, getting the word out and, like, getting out to the people who, like, might not have, like, social connections to the scene versus, like, doing that organically? Like, do you think that has to be, like, mostly word of mouth, or are there other things that you've tried?
Okay, so this is an interesting question because this is something we talk about often. We want to be patient in terms of how our growth trajectories, like what trajectory it's taken. You obviously want to have the right people that have the right reason, because so far we've been enjoying this really amazing environment that's being created, and it's not like that's not coming from like us setting hard rules. It's just it attracts a certain type of people that kind of gravitate towards this kind of nightlife. Sorry, I'm like going on a tangent. I want to go back to what your question. So part of it is to nurture the core community, right? So we have a core community that's been supporting us since day one. I feel like they pretty much they're the one that make sure, because we're busy running our event, taking care of the artists, making sure everyone is at the door, everyone is safe, everyone hydrated, everything. There is our friends that making sure every other one is like acting the right way, not just policing people, but just making sure the setting is comfortable for everyone. And that's really important, because when newcomers come, they see how people are behaving, and they kind of just follow through, and they become that caring person inside of them, and they just comes out, and like their big smiles comes out, and that you could lose that quickly if you grow out of proportion and you grow quickly. So we're trying to pace our growth. We're not trying to blast it. Obviously, if you're patient enough and if you're curious enough, you will find your way. But that said, we also try to reach the right people by being patient and like word them out, and just trusting friends with their judgment when they bring in their friends. We love to do bigger events and have it as inclusive as possible, but I'm not sure if you're familiar with this club. It's called Berghain, and it's like one of the most famous clubs in Berlin, and it has one of the most ridiculous ways to get in, because it's quite an intense lane to get in, and there is this famous door guy. His name is Sven, and like he gets people through like really hard time before they come inside. But then recently I listened to this RA interview, and he said to basically go to freedom, you'll have to go through that lane where I'm just gonna tell you, hey, no, you're not gonna come in tonight. So by them enforcing that law, they preserving everyone else's freedom inside. And one day it might work for you, one day it's not gonna be against you. So yeah, we're not that level, anywhere close to that level, but it kind of give you a close idea how we want to grow or how we envision our growth, because it's super easy for it to get corrupted. There's a lot of cool people in our parties, and not trying to brag, but there is, and other people, when they see that, they just want to be part of it. They're necessarily not coming in with the right intentions, they just want to go and have fun. But yeah, we're trying to pace that, so when they come, there's not too much chaos, there's room for them to learn and room for them to acclimate to what's going on. And
Cool. My other question was like, do you have any other I don't know if
No, you can tell
you want to say anything else. Like, are there any other events or event series that you take inspiration from, either like locally or elsewhere?
I think maybe starting elsewhere. I mean, we all are seasoned dancers and partiers, so we're always trying to take inspiration from everywhere we look. I think we can all probably give an answer to this, but I would say one of the biggest inspirations for me would be certain venues, like take like a Mansions, like in New York. If you're not familiar, it's like a smaller wine bar that has like a carpeted dance floor. It almost feels like a super cozy living room, amazing sound system. It's not inaccessible, and it's always, every time I've been able to go, it's been a really, really lovely vibe inside. And of course, and that's a city like New York where people, I don't want to throw too much shade, but like they don't have the same values that we might have up here about like caring about the music as much. Yet the times I've been there has definitely been like, wow, like okay, like the type of vibe that we want can exist somewhere in like a bigger city. I would say preserving that intimacy, like it's just like Shoki said, like of course like we have some bigger events sometimes, like our anniversary was like big warehouse party, but you want to make sure in those type of settings that there's still that core group of our returning guests who can not enforce but shine a light on our values to other people around, and making sure that that vibe is consistent throughout our parties, I think is something that I definitely take from a venue like Mansions. I say locally, I mean, we're friends with people who run other collectives, and we're always inspiring each other. I would say like my first like underground party in Boston was actually, it was a collab. It was like a Sojourn with View. So View is definitely one of the parties that I take personal inspiration from, and massive respect for what they do. Commitment to the craft of vinyl, commitment to craft of DJs who can really be storytellers and not just throwing a party, which is, there's nothing wrong with either or, but I think that commitment to that style is something that I respect a lot. So yeah, I'd shout out to them. Shout out to our friends at Steep as well. That was definitely one of the other first parties I went to when I first moved here, and I was like, okay, sick. Like, there's people who like to dance. So yeah.
Yeah, local inspiration, I would say, for me, Steep too. I got to meet Charles, very nice guy, and then also Sojourn. However, also my main inspiration, I think, was at Resolute Halloween last year. Last year.
Like the grandfather.
Yeah. Chowky was there too, and it was it was a beautiful night, and sound was amazing, crowd was amazing, and I walked in this place, I'm like, where am I? Like, wow, what is happening? And then I was like, okay, wow, like we can bring this vibe here too, and curate a good sound and people, and so yeah, that's for me.
Well, I would say the city is definitely enjoying some sort of peace and collaboration between all collectives that when we just started wasn't a thing. I felt like everyone was just scattered around trying to do their things their own way, and one thing that led to where all our friends that Brasak and Joe just mentioned, and the exponential growth that we all experienced this year, is from actually getting inspired from each other. Obviously, they're like our immediate competitors, I would say in some words, but in other words, I don't think would exist without them, because they're really our source of inspiration. I wouldn't even give credit to like nationally or internationally collectives, because these people work together with them. They come to our events regularly, and when they see something wrong, they will tell you. And we do the same. We try to be honest with each other and just help each other to build better experiences. Because, for example, this is so funny because we say this to each other all the time, is that I don't really enjoy my parties that much because I'm working, technically. I'm making sure everyone is fine. I'm stressed. I'm like so many things to run around. And the only time I can really enjoy good music is going to my friends' events. So I do everything in my power also to make their events successful. And I feel like this has been the real game changer for this scene. And yeah, sometimes like a collective is bringing a turntable, someone is bringing a mixer, the other one is bringing the cables. Hey, can I do security for you tonight? It's okay, we got this together. And that just have this feeling of empowerment. Like you feel like everything is possible after that. You can literally do everything with these people, yeah. So yeah, shout out to our friends from
Boston.
yeah, from Boston.
And yeah, I think just touching on one thing Shoki said, I think it's super important to be a takeaway. Like, I don't want the takeaway to be this like, oh, like Sojourn, we're doing this, like it's super cool or whatever. Like, I'm super proud of the work that we're doing, but I'm also super proud of the development of the Boston scene as a whole. There's so many people here doing incredible work for nightlife and pushing so hard to make the city better. And no nightlife scene can thrive just off the back of one party. It's unsustainable. It's unhealthy. It leads to very toxic power dynamics within a party scene, which is just not great. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for these questions. Yeah.
Should we play? Should we play?
You guys ready for some music?
Yeah.